Hey everyone, welcome back. Icon here. Thanks so much for checking out another episode of Esports Analysis. Today, we are hopping on board with Formal. There have been a few people in my chat that have mentioned that they like watching the AR point of view, and I know it just always varies, right? Yesterday, I did Envoy, and a couple days before that, I was doing Formal also. So it just depends on who I think would give us kind of the best idea in terms of what's happening at the moment for that match. So as we go ahead and get into this one, you'll notice that today we're not playing hardpoint. So I saw this footage, I watched this, and I saw it was Domination, and I figured that we might be able to learn a little bit about just how to play Domination, especially on a map like this. This is a really nice spot here from Formal. Not a lot of people look here behind these barrels, and it's so easy to hide behind. But essentially, this is a map that you see fairly often, right? Most of the time, if there's a pro team in a match that's going to be playing Domination, this is what ends up happening. So the only reason why I don't really love to upload Domination stuff is just because the strategy is the same basically no matter what. It's just constant. It's a constant tug of war back and forth, seeing who can control the strategy, the one main strategy, the most throughout the course of that matchup. So up above Formal's head in the top right-hand corner, you'll see that there's a mini-map on screen. I am going to go ahead and draw on that, and I'll just kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea in terms of what that strategy is and how it's playing out over time. So to start here, most people probably know by now, right? We're like 3 events in. It stinks there's not going to be any more in-person LAN events, but that is what it is, right? I applaud the CDL for their response to all of the epidemic and the pandemics that's coming out recently, but anyways, getting off topic here, back where we're supposed to be, the strategy for this map, if I'm drawing in the top right-hand corner, is you want to hold down A, you want to hold down B. And then the further that you can push out towards mid-map, the more successful you're going to be, and the higher or the bigger lead you're going to end up having. So you can see right there that Formal spawned out over at C. Now, that's not necessarily what you want because it's harder to get inside of B, but let's go back. Let's just talk about this base strategy. If you're the team that's spawning back here by ADOM, then essentially you want to have a couple people here inside of the actual hill. If you can get top and bottom L control, that is super important. So if you can control this area of the map, that is extremely important. Then the other thing that you want to do is, now, these players can be set up in fairly different areas, but you can see kind of where Formal's at the moment. If you have somebody kind of on this head glitch here right in the middle of the map, that's controlling this mid-map area right there. That's a really big spot to be. And you also want to have somebody on the right-hand side of the map. So if they're an SMG, they're probably going to be pushed up kind of where Formal is right now. So this is just playing out nicely. But if you're an AR, then you want to back up and you want to get exactly on top of these crates where he's at right now. Even this car offers a good line of sight over towards Forklift and then pushing through over towards bottom green. So essentially you want to provide support to BDOM and you don't want to get flanked behind, because if you get flanked behind, then all of a sudden your enemy is going to get ADOM. That makes it easier for them to get into BDOM, and then once they have A and B, now they can set up the spawn trap on you. Now, to counter this, so I'll let you guys watch what's going on screen at the moment, but to counter this, if you are the team that has C, so like Minnesota has C right now, you'll notice that there's a lot of gun battles happening over towards top and bottom L and kind of mid-map, right? You've seen Formal kill a few people in those 2 areas. And the problem with this is that you're really just kind of bouncing your head off the wall over and over and over again. It's like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again while expecting different results. So this isn't the way that you want to go about playing this map. And I know that sometimes it can be really hard, right? It's not like, hey, just go do this and you're going to end up being successful in executing that strategy. That's not really how it works. But if you are Minnesota, what you want to do is you really want to send people over through green. Because as soon as you're able to push through green, whether it's top or bottom, or if you go mid-map, as soon as you get around here, and if you start spawning here, then that's when your enemy is going to start spawning on the opposite side of the map, whether it's the right side of CDOM or the left side of CDOM. So this whole strategy of let's try really, really hard to get back into B just really isn't that successful. And what you can see right now is that not only does Chicago have A and B, but there for a second they were also able to push out into C and neutralize that flag. So let's go ahead, let's skip through this, and I'll talk about what they were trying to do as we get into the second round. All right, so as this side starts up, we'll see if they're able to flip here, right? So if Chicago's able to push out over towards green and then get behind and flip, if they can flip, then they're going to end up winning this by a ton. But I just want to talk about that strategy for a second. So there for just a moment, Chicago had A, Chicago had B, and they had people pushed up into L, and they had people watching the flank over here like we talked about earlier. Now, what you've seen a few teams doing is they'll push out. So if they get multiple kills over here, in this area, kind of by P3 over here in hardpoint, then if you can sneak ahead into C and just neutral that, what that's going to do is that might give you 15, 20, maybe 25 seconds of them not having a point at all, right? Not having a dom cap at all. So if that happens and all of a sudden you have people on C pushed up, and you also have people back here at A, so if you have this part of the map controlled, then the only place that your enemy can spawn is they have to spawn over here by green. So now we're talking about like really advanced setups and really advanced tips. But essentially that's what some teams are trying to do now, because when they come off spawn, now they either have to go through middle to get to B-Dom, they have to push out through forklift, which you know that there's already going to be somebody head glitching there, or they can push out through C, and usually there's only like one person there, so that's normally what teams elect to do is just go back towards C, and now all of a sudden you've had 30, 40 seconds come off the clock, so not only are you building up your lead, but you're also taking away 10% of the match, right? If you're able to take a minute off the clock while they're rotating back to C to get back into the same scenario that they were in before, now all of a sudden you've wasted 10% of the match and you've built up your lead. So that's what teams are really trying to do there. I know that there's a ton labeled on top of this map here, and there's all sort of things going on. So I'll erase that. The thing that I love about scrims is that they are able, or we are able to hear exactly what their communication's like. So there's only about 2 minutes and 50 seconds left of this domination. You can probably see how this is about to go. But with that, let's go ahead. I want to turn up the audio here because we listen into hard points all the time. We don't really listen into domination matches all that much. So with that, let's go ahead. Let's turn up the audio and let's just get an idea of what they're talking about.
I just stayed alive top L for like 3 minutes.
Oh. Well, I guess they quit. Well, I guess we won't end up getting there after all. Let me go back and let me see how, did they quit out? They did. They started killing each other. Got RX, sniped. Asim killed himself. Wow. I didn't expect that. That's kind of weird. Maybe Minnesota just figured, hey, there's no point in wasting any more time on this, so let's just end it and move forward. But it's really odd to see a team rage quit like that. Maybe they didn't rage quit. Maybe they just, you know what, this is over. Good GG's. Let's go ahead. Let's move on to the next one. But in that, man, look at these scores. So Formal 24-7, Envoy 25-12. Wow, this maybe it was something to deal with host, right? I mean, this has to be somewhat host involved because you normally wouldn't see everybody from Minnesota be that bad. 12-25 for Alex, 13-19. I mean, that's just, it has to be something to do with host. But with that, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go ahead and you leave a like down below. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button so that you're here for all of this content that's coming forward as we progress throughout the CDL season. If you have any comments whatsoever, put them down below. I love the interaction. I love talking with you guys, so make sure that you put those down below. Don't forget to leave a like before you head on your way, and I will catch you guys in my next episode.